Star Wars is a franchise that we grew up on,
It
be
was
it
a
at home
heavy
or in the
influence in
theaters.
our
For me,
lives.
oh yes, definitely. For me, it was due to the connection to martial arts.
And for me,
And,
like I got the hand-me-down novels that you had from Star
hmm
Wars, which
hmm
they don't have any value now. They were all torn to shreds. I had some of the original Star Wars toys. Like I had the
Yes,
original Obi-Wan, Luke Skywalker, and Darth Vader.
yes.
Lost all the
hmm
lightsabers and all the capes to them.
There'll be buku money now if we still had them, but yes.
They were all chewed up and whatnot. I don't know how much
Oh, yeah.
money I can get. R2D2. I had one of the bounty
Yes,
hunters. Was it a
yes,
bounty hunter? The android. Boba Fett. I had a
yes.
lot of those originals.
hmm
Was it Kenner Toys?
They did them. It was two companies that did them.
But I got
Yeah,
them all from you.
right.
Because I don't remember getting them. And that was the first thing I remember of Star Wars is those toys. And then I remember watching the movies. And then I remember you got me actually the audio cassette to
Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the
Yes,
Jedi. Yes.
that goes back several years before Skywalker.
Not even several, it was
Like
like hundreds of years.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah. You gave me that and you gave me the Dark Knight Nightfall saga on audio cassette. And I would listen to
Oh
both
yes.
of those stories on audio cassette repeatedly. I probably
hmm
have that Star Wars cassette somewhere in like storage
Oh,
somewhere.
please find it because yes, because
And,
I have it on digital download.
oh, you
That's what I
do?
have it
I
on
remember that
digital
was a
download.
really good story. And that,
hmm
and like every now and then when I think about like a Star Wars, I think about that story. I'm like, yo, we need to do Star Wars without the Skywalkers. And like, granted, I love Star Wars Skywalkers,
Right.
but there's so much more to the lore.
Exactly, and that's what I love about like stuff of that of the Tales of the Jedi, the comic book that they had,
Hmm.
and the audio cassette, the full dramatization of these characters with the music score and with the voice acting. Yes, because a lot of audiobooks has only one person
Uh huh.
playing all characters, and you have some of the music, whatever have you, but it's just not as enticing as having multiple actors playing these characters.
And for those
Yes,
young audiences that don't know this was back in the day when you had the cassette, and the cassette took both sides to the story. Like you had to
mhm,
like flip the cassette in
right.
order to finish your story.
Right, but
Right.
there's another Star Wars. I think maybe that's one you're talking about, where there's a guy, rebel agent, and all this stuff, where he started as from the Empire and then transitioned to the Rebellion, and he was a Jedi.
I think I had the one that was like the brother and sister.
But that's Tales
Years.
of the Jedi. But there's
Yeah.
another one.
One day I will find it. It's a super old reference, super old reference. But like, yeah, it's definitely stories before the Skywalkers were even a thing. And it was talking about the Empire, the Jedi, and the Sith. It's just really cool
Oh,
to
Dark
listen to the
Forces.
stories.
Is that the one
Uh,
you're talking about?
it might be. It might
That's
be.
what it was a trilogy, and it came out like you can't find it now. It's like very hard unless it's digital, but you can't find the CD or the cassettes. Like it's
Yeah.
very hard to find out. And it's Rebel Agent, then Jedi Knight, and then Soldier for the Empire. And it's all follows this one guy's trajectory of being part of the Rebel Alliance. And he fights this guy. He fights a Darth Vader type of character. They
Hmm.
actually made a video game as well, or the video game influenced this story, what have
Maybe.
you. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's really good. It's really good. It all became also before there can only be two, a
Yes.
master and apprentice.
Yeah.
It was
This
before
was
that.
before the Sith became the rule of two.
Well, no. It's not before that. Before that happening, it's before that George Lucas made that canon.
Oh yeah.
Because here it was all these Sith lords partnering up and then fighting each other, and then they're all fighting for power because they're all greed. They're like they were the seven sins, if you will.
I can see that.
But on Rotten Tomatoes, Tales of the Empire is scored at 85% by the critics and 54% by the audience. I can see why these scores are so different.
Was it the first half or the second half for you?
Let's discuss. Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. My name is Angel,
I'm a Don.
where we give you a review at least once a week. Spoiler alert, a follow up on Tales of the Jedi.
Not the one we were just talking about.
No. A few years back, Tales of the Jedi came out, focusing more on Ahsoka, Count Dooku, and Qui-Gon. In my opinion of Tales of the Empire, this was laid out better
Yeah.
because in Tales of the Jedi, you were jumping from different characters to different characters.
Mm-hmm.
In Tales of the Empire, you focus on one person for a few episodes, and then they went to another person a few episodes, and then another person a few episodes.
Yeah, but they only did like 2 people, really.
I thought it was three.
Who was the third?
I thought it was three characters
No,
that
no,
they
that
focused on.
Tales of the Jedi was three characters,
Okay.
and then the Tales of the Empire they just focused on two because there was Barriss Offee, who was played by Meredith Salinger. She was in the second
Mm-hmm.
half. Then there was
Morgan Elsbeth, Daniel Lee
Elizabeth,
Santo.
Daniel Lee and
Mm-hmm.
Santo. She did the first half.
All right. I thought it was three characters, but
But the fact that like you focus and you kind of centerize that, like it makes it more sense than just
mm-hmm.
going Ahsoka, Qui-Gon, and then whoever else
Yeah,
was the
it was
third,
all over in Tales of Count Dooku, like I said,
Count Dooku.
Qui-Gon,
Which I
and
like
so
that Count Dooku and you didn't, if I remember correctly.
Well, here's the thing with Tales of the Jedi. I want to hear stories. I mean, tales. It means like lore.
Yeah, like what we
Like
talked about at the beginning of this video. Like we
right,
want to hear
exactly. But
actual
the thing is,
tales.
right. I want to hear something like about a character that we don't know at all.
Mm-hmm.
That saw something that maybe like they saw the point of view. Maybe a character that one of the Jedi's through all the 6 films and maybe the series has mentioned, and then they put that focus point on that character, bring that character more to life.
Yes. And you know what?
You
And
know,
that brings a good point for me why I have a problem with episode 4 through 6, the last half, Jedi Tales of the Empire. I'm mixing my shows now. I think the last half deserved to be in Tales of the Jedi.
yes, because why? Because she's a Jedi who turns and returns.
Yes.
So yes, that would have been awesome. They put that there. But also, how come this thing is not called Tales of the Sith?
Because technically none of them are Sith.
Right, but are they really Empire?
I mean, she became an Inquisitor, which is a member of the Empire.
Yeah, but
and then
you know what I'm saying, though?
Morgan
You know
Elsbeth
like,
works for the Empire. So
right, if you're gonna repeat same characters, like Dave Filoni loves to freaking do, if you're gonna repeat them, give me something I don't know about Thrawn. Give me something I don't know about another person because I don't know who else is in the Empire.
Well, I would have liked to know more about the head Inquisitor. He would have been more interesting to me than Barriss.
But we had him in Rebels.
But we don't have his background. If we're talking about like backstories, their backgrounds is like we just had
like what made him turn.
Exactly.
We kind of do know that through Rebels. Kinda. He was a keeper. He was a keeper of the books, I believe. And then he saw what was happening with the Jedi, and he gave up. Kind of like how Anakin saw what the Jedi was doing. I believe. I could.
So what if we just took Count Dooku from season Tales of Jedi, put this in season here, and take Barriss and move that to just swap their placements?
No, exactly. What really made Count Dooku turn to the dark side or
to the Emperor?
Palpatine? Right. We see it a little bit on Tales of the Jedi, but it would have been better if they used something that they didn't have a character that we are familiar with. Bring us something new. And why not just keep it one episode? Just keep it one episode. It's a tale.
Yeah.
Why stretch it out? They did it with Tales of the Jedi. They stretch it out with certain characters, 3 characters, and they kept it here, as you said, 2 characters. Make each episode singular.
Mm-hmm.
Again, someone at a cantina that wants to join the Empire, or he can't join the Rebel Alliance.
So I would have loved, like we talk about legacy and lore and stuff like that, and we haven't really talked about that show so far. But I would have loved, like there was a Star Wars comic where they focused on one of the clone troopers who, when the Empire took over, was actually like a stand for Vader. He thought he was Vader's best friend. He was like, he was all about Vader. And then there was like one thing Vader wanted him to do. And he's like, I can't do that. And Vader was like, well, you're done. We're going to off you right here. They show that dynamic just from that clone's perspective. Or like there was a doctor that thought she was in love with Vader. And Vader don't do love.
Well, he only has one true love. He has Padme.
Exactly. And Vader realizes this girl's essentially stalking him. So like, that's a tale of the Empire. If you think about it, like it's happened during the Empire. It's like focusing on the people there and their environment around them. You still have the Skywalkers there.
Tell a story about one of the Red Guardsmen.
That's what I'm saying. Like you don't need to focus. Like I'm talking, pull in from like main character that centralizes
No,
the
but
story, but it doesn't have to
right,
be someone we've
right.
already seen.
But tell like a story. Okay, how about this? Like tell a story. Well, like in Return of the Jedi, when Luke shows up with Vader,
Yeah.
the two Red Guardsmen were there, and then they disappear. Palpatine says, "Leave us." Why not have a point of view of one of them, like how they became a Red Guardsman or a Crimson Guard?
Hmm. How do
Because
you become a Red Guardsman? Let's focus on
right
that. Like, what's the training to
now,
be that?
granted, there is a story. There's also an audio book and comic book and novelization of one of them.
Yes, but those legends aren't animated.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying because they could have done that thing where how he meets Vader. Vader comes down to see how the training is going for these guys to be the Palpatine's security.
Yeah.
But this is why I say like Dave Filoni has writer's fatigue. He needs a break. He needs a cold plunge.
What's that
He,
Greek? In legend, there's like a Greek titan that holds up the world, and that's his curse.
Atlas.
Like he's like Atlas
Yeah.
right now, holding up Star Wars, whether you like it or not. Like animated Star Wars, he's like he keeps writing, and he's tired.
Ahsoka was a great creation. Okay, fine, good. But now Disney and him are always now going to the same thing of focusing on women. Why are you just focusing now on one sex? You should be like multiple. The Tales of the Jedi should be multiple, or Tales of the
Empire.
Empire, excuse me, should be focusing on multiple characters, not just of the same sex, but mix it up.
The Witch Sisters, where they introduced Morgan Elsbeth.
Hmm.
Okay, I get they introduced Morgan Elsbeth, and that's great. I wanted to learn more about the Witch Sister clan. I would have
Now,
if
granted,
they did a
but
whole
still,
episode just dedicated to Witch Sister clan and like why the Empire chose to snuff them out. I would have been fantastic. I love the fact they brought in
but didn't they do that?
Grievous.
But didn't they do that with
Clone Wars.
Clone Wars? They
Maybe
already
I
did that
overlooked it.
explanation.
Uh,
Right. Well, there's so many episodes. But what I'm saying is like they could have just again give a point of view of a character that's not so important, but out of their point of view. Give something like that. That's how tales are done. Like she saw this happening or he saw this happening,
mhm.
and he's like telling the story. He's telling the story to his friend or maybe a drunk at a cantina. Like he saw this happening.
Yeah,
That approach to me would have been a better approach,
yeah.
lack for a better term, in the sense of how these things came about. These tales of the Empire, of the Jedi.
Okay, like the bounty hunters, just to keep it on the Tales of the Empire with Morgan Elsbeth, the bounty hunters she used to keep control of the town. We saw them in Mandalorian when they introduced
Hmm.
Ahsoka,
Hmm.
right?
Right. We see the after that.
And one of the bounty hunters is like the head bounty hunter. He has dialogue in the show, but he doesn't have
Hmm.
dialogue. We don't get to see him in Tales of the Empire. We could have focused on him
Exactly.
and how he meets Morgan Elsbeth. Now, granted, I like Morgan Elsbeth story for Tales of the Empire. Granted, it's the only Tales of the Empire logistically.
Right, because she has connection with Thrawn, and that's how she joins
Yeah.
Thrawn. Right.
Well,
We
and
we
there's
see
also
that.
the big bad general in the beginning who took out her clan, General Grievous, which I liked
Yeah.
what they did with Grievous. But still, like he was the threat. And I loved when introducing him that way. He's like, run. And he's chasing after her like for sport.
Mhm.
I thought that was a good episode.
But here's the thing too, in the sense of faux pas,
Yes.
because
We're all over the place right now.
there.
Like, let's
No,
go
I
into
know,
faux
but the
pas.
thing is, because there's no really good moments. The only thing that's good moments is that they bring back the voice actors, Thrawn, the
Mhm.
Inquisitor, all those characters actors that we love. They make a return. But overall, this is not a good series.
No,
Tales of
overall,
the Jedi is
it's not
still
a
not good.
great season. No.
It's definitely up there with one and done or not worth the watch.
Yeah, I liked
But
like them showing dynamics. Like from a certain point of view, you can see why
Mhm.
she continues to go to the Empire, even though the Empire basically burned her village. She turned the town into a prospering town, even though the townspeople don't like her. Her plans don't go through, and the town pretty much like hang her up, and she's being attacked. And they're like, "What we'll do? Just watch. Just let it happen." I hate those
right.
town people just as well as she does.
Well, there are opportunists.
Exactly,
That's the thing.
but when you see them in Boba Fett, not Boba Fett, Mandalorian, you're like, oh, they're victims. No, they're not. They're opportunists. They just fell for the wrong deal.
Now, do you have a favorite moment?
I think I already mentioned it. I liked when Grievous showed up and he like decimated the sisters. I
Yeah,
thought that was really
right.
cool. And when they test Morgan, all my favorite moments were like in the first half. I think the second half, I thought it was kind of cool when she saved. Actually, I thought it was cool about the fact that, when they trained her, because it felt like Sith training and brainwashing.
Didn't Ahsoka, she say her ancestors, I come from a long line of, that's why I'm thinking like
Oh, you
the
talking about Morgan
continuity.
referring to her sisters?
She made it seem like it's a long lost religion.
I mean, you
The
can argue the
Fupa,
same thing was done like with Han Solo talking about like Jedi, please. Like the Jedi was just around
right.
like 5 years ago, my guy, like 5 to 10 years ago.
No, 20 years ago.
It was 20 years ago between the Jedi and Han?
Yeah, in the sense of Luke is 19 when he meets him. So about 20 years.
Oh, yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Over 20 years, she's been with the Empire.
Yeah.
Over because Grievous happened. When did Grievous die? He died in
like halfway through the Clone Wars?
Yeah, episode 3 he died.
No, I thought it was episode 2.
No, episode 3 because he has Obi-Wan has short hair.
Oh.
Mullet Obi-Wan was episode 2.
So it was a long time.
The Star Wars universe, like time is irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
Even though they're all aliens.
Right, but she would have been old as shit, in my opinion, because she was a human alien, if you will. Thrawn is definitely an alien, but I'm just saying.
Those sisters got good genes.
Yeah, but the thing is, if it was her ancestors, it wouldn't be her ancestors if she was right there with them, watching her sisters get destroyed by Grievous. Again, it doesn't really make sense.
I get where you're coming from. I get it. What was a favorite moment for you?
Grievous part, seeing that, guess that part, the only close part goes, nothing was really, it wasn't really that good. I just appreciate they stayed with the same character instead of jumping around like Tales of the Jedi, but it wasn't really a good thing. And then at the end, where Homegirl comes back to the Force,
yeah.
Again, person gets stabbed by a lightsaber, nothing happens. Lightsabers used to be feared, a feared tool. You get struck by a lightsaber,
that was instant kill.
Done. Right. Homegirl from Obi-Wan lives. The Inquisitor lives by being stabbed. I was like, no one dies. Oh, what's her name from Rebels in Ahsoka series? She lives. She gets stabbed and she lives.
Oh yeah.
The one who's automatically the Force bearer. I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. I'm just like, ugh.
Of all the shows that we saw, it's up there in some of the worst like placement for the theme of how the show is supposed to go. I thought it was funny, like the fourth sister, the one that's been hunting them down for the main character Barriss, is being hunted by the fourth sister. The whole reason is because the fourth sister killed the entire village, essentially, the entire bar at least, because they lied.
Right.
Barriss is like, join us of your free will, and I promise you won't be harmed, and you won't be alone. And the guy's like, I'm tired of being alone. And she kills him there. Your whole thing is about they lied to me, and now you're breaking promises.
Hypocrisy. That's
hypocrisy.
That's what the Empire does.
Exactly.
That.
And I get that, but I just thought it was funny. She should have been like, you broke a promise too. Toss her off a cliff.
Right. Call her out on her bullshit.
Exactly.
So going back to the Rotten Tomatoes score of 85% by the critics and 54% by the audience, where do you lay this?
Wait, the critics gave it 85?
Yeah.
I'm more with the audience on this.
I'm with the audience. This is either one and done or a waste of time.
Is it not a waste of time? I would say
this.
this.
Done without it?
It's worth the first half for me. I like the Morgan story. I don't like the Barriss story.
I was more into the
Barriss.
Yes,
so we both agree half the show is somewhat decent.
Right. Like you said, if you put the Barriss episodes in actual Tales of the Jedi, it would have been a better fit. But yes.
Half the show is good.
It should not have been called Tales of the Empire. It should have been
Star Wars Tales.
Yeah. Star Wars Tales.
Matter of fact, I would have loved from Ahsoka, what's his name? The Jedi that the former Jedi that was working with Thrawn. Oh my God.
Oh,
you know exactly what I'm talking about now.
Yes, him.
I would have loved his background.
There have been Tales of the Sith, though, or still Tales of the Jedi.
The Balin Skull.
Yes.
Whether it was properly jointed to the Tales of the Empire or not, if you're going to pull off a character that's just random off the wall that we want to know more about, I would have been more interested in Balin Skull. And since it's animated, we
Right.
don't need the legit actor. Sad to
Right.
say, I don't want to put it like that, but yeah, it's true.
No, right. And since Ahsoka and Tales of the Empire is created by Dave Filoni, yes. See, I mean, Dave Filoni, I'm sorry, he's done. I know people blame Kathleen Kennedy because she's the producer,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, you can't blame a producer who gives the money and the go ahead for these creators to be creative, directors, writers, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Filoni, J.J. Abrams, John Favreau, the thing is, they give their best they can, and then they screw it up. I'm sorry, Dave Filoni is now becoming boring to me. He's becoming predictable. He's following women now as the focus point. Nothing wrong with having women, but also give us some other characters, other sexes, males, or other aliens and stuff like that. I'm sorry, it's just.
I mean, there's nothing wrong
Gotta
with
be
a
done
male or
here.
female character as long as they are interesting. Only a
Correct.
male or female character just because you're trying to hit a
Just for sake of,
demographic and hit a
yes.
stat, that's not interesting. What's interesting is the story behind them, because I think we've talked about this where like a good background story or a good story, you can really substitute for a man or a woman. It doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
Their story
Right, no,
is
of
what
course.
carries them. If John Wick was Jane Wick, we probably would still be like, she's badass and don't kill her dog.
Right.
It's just that way.
No, exactly. Omega and the Bad Batch. She was the main focus point, but she didn't have to be. I was more interested in the Bad Batch. I was interested in them.
Yeah.
I was interested more into the female adult clone.
Yeah, Emery.
And she has a story to tell. They could have done a Tales of the Empire of her.
Yes.
Since she is part of the Empire.
Or even Hemlock. Yeah, I know you were into Hemlock.
Yes. Those are characters that we really don't know about. They could have done stuff like that. And they were part of the Empire.
Ooh. If we're going to stick with females, Fennec.
But she's not part of the Empire. She's just a bounty hunter.
Apparently, they don't care about that in Tales of the Empire.
Apparently not. All right, guys, that is our sensational review of Tales of the Empire, currently streaming on Disney+. Have you seen it? Who's your favorite character or favorite moment? Also, you have a show or a movie you'd like us to review? Let us know in the comments below as well. And also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Until next time, we'll be the next time. I'm Angel.
Madon.
Love you, bro.
Love you too. And the force be with you. I don't know.